everyone, today's objective is multiplying and dividing rational expressions. And again, this is very similar to what we have done before. Multiplying rational expression, if you have a fraction times a fraction, you just multiply the top and multiply the bottom, where p, q, r, and s are polynomials, and q cannot equal to 0 and s cannot equal to 0. And the reason of that is because remember we cannot have 0 in the denominator. So the procedures I put it down for you guys. Applying rational expression. Number 1 is to factor out numerator and denominator completely, like what we did. So again, using the things from factoring. 2, divide out any numerator factors with any matching denominator factors. That means one-to-one canceling. Number 3, multiply the numerator by numerator and denominator by denominator. So again, cancel up and down, multiply side by side. Example number 1. Now for example number 1, the one thing you have to remember is when you're canceling things, it's like you have multiplication. If you don't have multiplication, you cannot cancel. So think about the multiplication is the little link between. So if you want to write this one out, you really have 3 times 3, those are the factors, times x times 3 times 5, that's 15, x times y to the second, there's the double y. On the bottom is 5 times y times 2 times 2 times 3. Now if you write it out like this, you can see how to cancel. So you get 3, cancel out with a 3. You get a 5, cancel out with a 5. You get a y, cancel out with a y. And that is it. And then what they said, canceling top and bottom. And then they say just multiply it across. So don't forget that's one-to-one first, cancellation. And then we're going to just multiply the top across and bottom across. So that's going to be 3 times 3 is going to be 9. And then you'll have x squared. And then you have y over the bottom is just 4, and that's your answer. Now that's one way if you want to write it out. If you don't want to write it out, you can totally do it this way, which is I will show it to you guys. The other way is a little bit more clear. For this one, you can just do, oh, I have 15 and 5. I'm going to put 3 on top. And then you'll have 12 and 9. Both can cancel by 3. I'm going to put 4 on the bottom, 3 on top because both cancel by 3. And then I notice the y also right here can cancel out with this y. And then because of that, all canceled out, nothing else in common, 9x squared y over 4. Because I multiplied this guy, all the 3, all the x, all the y, that's on top. The bottom is just 4. Either way, you should be able to do it. But that's example number 1. Please try example number 2. The answer for example number 2 is negative 9m squared over 4n. For 3, some of you guys recognize this is not just one term anymore. There's no like it's just multiplication. There's addition, subtraction. So what we're going to do is we are going to factor. So this is what you have to go through your list. Do I have anything in common each time? Do I have 2 terms, 3 terms, 4 term factoring? Very first top right here, I notice I just have 2x, so that means 2 times x. So I'll leave it alone. But right here, when I look at it, the second one is going to be 5x minus 15. Now because it's 5x minus 15, pull out like a 5 and then make it 5 times x minus 3. That's what they mean factoring. The reason for that is become 5 times x minus 3. 5 times is where you can cancel things. So then the bottom I'm going to pull out a 3, and that's x minus 3. And then the next one, since it's one term, you can cancel. So to rewrite it to be more clear, that's going to be negative 2x over 3 times x minus 3 and times 5x minus 3, and then you have 20 times x to the third. Then I'm going to use a highlighter to cancel it so you guys can see. As long as you cancel one on top, one on bottom, if you cancel diagonally, it's totally okay. So you can do 2 and 20, that's 1 on top, 1 on bottom, that's 1. Then you can cancel the x right here. I usually like to go down the line so that way I know I didn't miss anything. That will be x squared, 1 on top, 1 on the bottom. So then I go down to 5, there's nothing to cancel, but I can cancel x minus 3, and then I now collect all the things and multiply them together. because I have nothing else to be canceled. So that's 1 times 5, that's just 5 on top. On the bottom, I have a 3, and when we have a 10, so that's going to be 30. And then you have x squared. Oh, look, we can also still cancel something. So go ahead, cancel. It's not wrong to do it, the double check. Cancel again, 5 on top, and then 6. That's totally okay. You can do this cancel, that's cancel. You can do 5 and 10 cancel, I'll give you 2. That's also okay, and that's also 1 on top. So I can cancel in the top, on the top or on the bottom, second steps. So that's going to be 1 over 6 negative x squared on the bottom, and that will be your answer. So make sure you factor when you have more than one term. That's example number 3. Please try example number 4. So for example number 4, I left the work for you. Don't forget it's 3 terms, so you need to factor. And then put out things they can't have in common right here. And then don't forget that if you factor out things, you need to make sure that you double check your factoring right there. And make sure you understand when you cancel things, it's really 1 that's left, but usually we don't write it if we have more than just 1. Anything times 1 is the thing itself. So when you collect them together, don't forget it's multiplied across, so that's why it has 2 and it has x plus 3 on top, 2 times x plus 3. On the bottom is going to be 3 times x squared. Don't forget you can cancel out x minus 2 on the first fraction and then x minus 2 on the second fraction because they both are 1 on top and 1 on bottom, and they can cancel. So that's example number 4, 2 times x plus 3 over 3x squared. Please try example number 5. For example number 5, the only thing I want to talk about is the 1, all right? When you pull out the 10 right here, 10 divided by 10 is 1, so please do not forget that. So when you write it, it's really 10 comes out, so you have 3m plus, so 10 divided by 10 is 1. That's the most important thing, so you don't just have 3m. Other than that, this is just simple like the other ones if you know how to factor. Please, if you don't know how to factor, let me know. I'll be happy to help. The answer for example number 5 is m minus 5 over 2m. Next thing we want to talk about is dividing rational expression. So now if you look at the symbol, we have a division symbol, okay? And that has one extra step to it, and it's a very simple one. So if you follow the rule, P over Q divided by R over S equal to P over Q, the first term stayed the same. The second term is times S over R. Pretty much you just flip the top to the bottom, bottom to the top. So that's one of the steps we have to do when we do the problems like this. So let's take a look at the rules are right here, where P, Q, R, and S are polynomials, and Q cannot equal 0, R cannot equal 0, S cannot equal 0. The reason for that is now we have one more is because the flipping, so it was a denominator, now it's not a denominator, we got a new one. So that's why we got 3 of them. So the procedure to do this is to divide rational expression is 1, write an equivalent multiplication statement with a reciprocal. That is the very important words right here, reciprocal of the divisor. And then number 2 is factor each numerator denominator completely. Step 1 and step 2 can be interchanged. So you can do factoring first, then flip, or you can do flip first, then factoring. Number 3, divide out any numerator factors and the matching denominator. That's the one-to-one canceling. Number 4, multiply numerator and numerator denominator by denominator. That's multiplying across. And then simplify if needed. Just like me forgetting cancel one more things, you can definitely simplify more. All right, so let's take a look at it. Example number 6, dividing the following. So I personally like to flip it because then that I can forget I have to do anything related to flipping the sign just when I start canceling. So I'm gonna do that first. So 9 x squared y over 28z to the third power. Because it's division, I'm going to multiply. And the 7z, that's all you have to do. Flip it. 7z goes on top and 12y goes on the bottom. And then I just start canceling because they are all multiplying between. So the 7 and 28, that gives you 4. And I should have started at the beginning. 9 and 12, they both can cancel by 3, so I'm going to put 3 here, I'm going to put 4 here. And then you can have x squared, and you cannot cancel x squared, so next one is the y. You have one y on top and 1 y on the bottom. And then going down to 7, so I already cancel out 7 with 28. And the z, I can cancel out with the z to the third power. That's just 1 on top and z to the second on the bottom. Then if I can combine them, which is multiply across, that's going to be 3 times x squared and then over 16z squared. Now I notice when I check, there's nothing on top and the bottom have in common, so therefore I'm done canceling, and there is my answer. For example number 6, 3x squared over 16z squared. Go ahead, try example number 7 yourself. For example number 7, I flipped it and I start canceling, and then you guys can see it in the purple, and then I collect all the things that I have left and I write it out. That's 5 times 2 times x squared over 4y to the third. And I notice when I start combining them, there's a 10 and a 4 I can still cancel, so I have to cancel. And the answer left me with 5x squared over 2y to the third. That's the answer for number 7. Now for example number 8. Example number 8 is just the same thing like we did before. So now what you're going to do is flip. I prefer flip, but there's a little bit more different than that because you also have to pull things out in common. Let me show you how I prefer to do it. You can factor first, then flip 2. Can I start factoring things out when I'm writing this second step? Absolutely. I will pull out w, and that will be w squared minus 7w plus 12. I will be able to do this first step and the above fraction if you want. That's 2w times you have 4w pull out, then you're left with w plus 4, and that will be 2 times w minus 3. Now right here you can do 1 and 1, 1 and 12, 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4, 3 and 4, and then both negative. So the next step could be you have w times w minus 3, w minus 4 over 2w times 4w times w plus 4 over 2 times w minus 3. Alright? And then when you do that, you can cancel things out by saying w, cancel out with this w, and then you'll have the 2. Actually, this 2 and that 4 can cancel out, and so same thing with that because 2 times 2 is 4. X minus 3, x minus 3. But there's nothing else can be canceled because one of them's w minus 4, the other one's w plus 4. You cannot cancel. So in this case, that's just going to be w times, it's going to be w that's left on top over w minus 4 times w plus 4. And since there's nothing on the bottom, it's just 1, we are going to just leave it as nothing on the bottom. It's totally okay. Is when the 1 is on top, you need to make sure that it need to be written down. So that's the answer for example number 8. Please go on, try example number 9. The answer for example number 9, I try to do it in the blue so you guys can really see a little bit better. Try to factor on top so I can write less step. So make sure you have enough space to do your work. First term, I have 3x times 4x plus 1 over x plus 3 and 2x minus 3. And just double check all my math, making sure my factoring is correct. And then the next one is going to be x plus 2 over 4x minus plus 1. X plus 2, 4x plus 1. And then over on the bottom, I'll pull out 6x squared because that the lowest exponent is x squared. So that 6 comes out, that you have x plus 3 left in the parenthesis. And then I put it in the red very closely for you guys, very clearly for you guys, because that's multiplication. You need to flip division, you need to flip it, so that becomes multiplication. Then I start canceling. There's no x to be canceled, there's no number to be canceled, so I just cancel whatever in parentheses they have in common. And collect the like terms, multiplying them together. That will be 3 times 6. 3 times 6 is 18x squared over 2x minus 3 times x plus 2. The answer for example number 9. And that concludes the notes for today. Thank you so much for watching.